because I have another lady,
Yeah.
and she we get in touch like on Saturday. She wants to see a property in Harsdale, and I asked her, "Do you have an agent?" And she say no, but I've been seeing different apartment with different agents. So
Okay.
I told her, if you want me to open the door for the apartment, you need to sign the buyer representation with me.
Right.
So if no, so I'm not gonna do it
Then
for
I
you.
wouldn't waste my time. Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and then she didn't text me anymore.
Yeah. So that's you're going to find that that person, that type of person after August 17th is probably not going to get anybody is going to want to show her any properties. If she doesn't find something before August 17th, by law, if we take her out, she's got to sign representation. And if she won't sign it, no one's going to take her shopping because we can't legally take anybody out unless they give us representation or authorization to represent them. Period.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the moment, there's a few sneaky Pete's that are out there that think that they can, override the system. And for now, for another 11 days, they can. Chances are they're not going to be in contract in less than 11 days. So they're going to find that um, it's going to be a problem. Let's put it that
Okay.
way. So right now, if it wasn't for this new rule, you wouldn't take that buyer out anyway, because that buyer might be, let's just say the buyer's brother is an agent. And he said, just go shopping with everybody else. Don't sign anything. And when you're all done, let me know and I'll put an offer in on what you like.
She's doing something like that. Like she's
Of
saying to
course.
me, "Oh, I've been seeing different apartment with different agents. I didn't sign any documents, so it's gonna be able if you can show me the property in Harsel." And I told her, if you want me to open the door, so you need to sign the buyer representation with me because basically you're wasting agent's time.
Yeah, correct. I
Okay.
would not, I wouldn't take her anywhere if she doesn't agree to sign it and send it out DocuSign. And if she doesn't sign it, then I'm sorry.
Sayonara.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help you. That's it. That's just how it's going to be. The only way we're going to get the public
To
to
understand it. Yeah.
go and stay with the standards that we've been dealing with is for agents to stay strong and just say, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking you out. Not doing it. That's why we were talking last night. Only one that was here was Jenny. So we were talking last night about the buyer agent representation, and there's an exclusive right to represent and a non-exclusive right to represent. We're not going to use the non-exclusive right because what's the point? You take somebody out, and let's just say the woman says, I'm not going to sign an exclusive, but I'll sign a non-exclusive. Okay, so we go look at 3 homes on Saturday, and she says, okay, I'll let you know, and she disappears. The only way you're going to get paid if she does go buy one of those 3 homes is you got to follow those 3 homes, make sure that your buyer didn't buy one of them. How do you do that? You got to follow it every step of the way, wait till after it closes, and then check with the town records, which is another 4 months from now, by the time they update the records on who the new owner is, for you to find out that the person like bought without you. So a non-exclusive right to represent, to me, is just a waste of time. Complete waste of time. What's the point?
I'm not doing the non-exclusive. Like
I'm not even producing one.
Yeah, not happening.
I'm not even producing one. It's not going to be in our arsenal of documents. It's not going to be there. If somebody says, I want to work with you, but I don't want to be married to you for the next 3 months, 6 months. Okay, great. Do it for a week. Do it for a month. We don't need to sign it forever. You're like, somebody's not going to want to sign it for a whole year. Okay, I understand that. If I can't find you a house in the next 3-4 weeks, then you fire me. So give them a 1 month, but not a non-exclusive. Non-exclusive is not happening. So
I
here's
have a
what.
question.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
what if? Okay, so they signed the exclusive right to represent. Can we still charge them for taking them out?
You can't do both. You can charge them if you want to. If you want to get paid by the hour, and just say whether you get a house or not, I get $100 an hour. you want to go shopping for 10 hours, you're going to owe me $1,000. And how do I know I'm going to get paid? Because you're going to give me $500 up front right now. Otherwise, we're not going anywhere. Oh, I don't have $500 in my checking. I could do it on a credit card. Great. Hi, Fred. Can you charge $500 on this person's credit card? She's going to call you. No problem. And we'll take it on a credit card. We take credit cards. I put a whole kitchen on a credit card once. We take credit cards. So if you want to get paid, but that's it though. It doesn't matter if they want to buy a house for $500,000 and there's a $20,000 commission and you already made your $1,000, Jenny, at the closing, you don't get any of that money. You can't do both.
Okay.
All right. So if you're dealing with a real pain in the ass that wants to look at 100 homes, but you don't know how it's going to go. So you're taking a gamble by getting paid by the hour. Because if they only look for 3 hours, you made $300 and you're done. And you still have to walk them through the rest of the process.
Question, Joe.
Yes.
If you have them fill the form out exclusive, right, and then they decide, I don't want to work with you anymore after like a couple of months, do they
Gotta
need
put it
to
in writing. That's all they got to do.
writing?
We have, there's also a new invoice that I'm creating. So when you actually are going to a closing, there'll be an invoice. And if your buyer agreed to pay you separately, they're going to get an invoice on the property. And if the buyer doesn't pay you, we got a little better chance because, once it closes, if we don't get paid, the buyer that was supposed to pay me, I could put a lien on their house after it closes. So it's a pretty good opportunity. I don't see this as any downside. Not much has changed. However, we are going to separate our broker commission. We're not going to say seller, we're charging, let's just say seller, we're charging 5%. Out of my 5%, I'm going to give 2.5% of my commission to a buyer's agent. We're not going to do business like that. That's not how it's going to work. From now on, it's going to be seller, I get 2.5 or 3 or 4, whatever percent. How much do you want to give the other guy? Okay, great. So here's my contract that I'm going to get your house sold for 2.5%. Sign here, please. Now, it's a good idea to offer some incentive to the buyer's agent. So are you willing to offer an incentive to the buyer's agent to bring their buyers? You are? Great. Okay, so how much do you want to give a buyer's agent? 2% is a good number. For 1%, you might get a buyer that's really desperate, a buyer's agent, but 2% would probably attract a buyer's agent. Great, you're willing to give 2%? Okay, separate piece of paper, sign here, 2%, completely negotiable to a buyer's agent that brings a buyer. Why do I need that? As I mentioned last night, why do I need that? Because let's say, Ricardo, you take a listing and the seller says, I'll agree to give you 2%. Okay, great. How much do you want to give the buyer's agent? Nothing. Nothing at all? You don't want to offer any money at all? Nothing, no incentive whatsoever. Okay, well, keep in mind that not even anyone in my office is going to show your property. Why not? Well, agents want to get paid. And I am marketing your property. I'm going to spend money on photography, advertising, open houses, all the marketing. I got to spend a lot of money out of my 2%.
Yes.
I can't share that 2% with another agent in the office. So none of the agents in the office are even going to show your property. So you got to offer at least 2 to 2.5% to a buyer's agent to bring a buyer in. And if you don't, it's only going to be me and my marketing. And that goes for any other brokerage firm that you're going to call. Whoever the agent is that you think you're going to call, they're not bringing anybody here. And for me to do this for 1% and give out 1%, totally not worth it. At that point, we do a little theatrics and I'm just going to start packing my bags. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I have done that. We're in the middle of the transaction. They just start talking and they're telling me, and I go, it's really nice to meet you. Really nice to meet you. Shook everybody's hand. And I get up and I'm putting my stuff in my briefcase and go, where are you going? I go, I'm not an order taker. I've been doing this for 25 years. And if you need an order taker, you should probably hire like a brand new agent who's just going to do whatever you want. come to think of it, if that's what you're going to do, you should probably do for sale by owner, because you're not going to get much cooperation if that's how it's going to be. And I was asked to sit back down, relax, and let's talk. So a lot of times you have to put on a good show. It does help. Also, the need for social media and for reaching out to people is going to be everything. It's going to be all is reaching out to people in your sphere of influence, because that's where the clients are going to come from. The bottom line is you need to be out there socially. How much money have you spent in the last couple of months, Vicky? $0, correct? $0. But she has spoken to lots of people, and she doesn't sit in the house at night. She's out somewhere going to meet people every single day. She just runs into people all day, every day. And that's what you need to be doing. We talked about it again. I keep saying this starting out. We talked about it last night, in case you weren't here. We talked about Charlie, brand new agent, sitting right there on my couch yesterday. We did a little bit of orientation for new agent. And while we're sitting here, I just mentioned, we're talking about social media. And I said, here, we just had ChatGPT write us a letter. Vicky, mute. We had ChatGPT write us a letter. Said, we need an introductory letter for a brand new real estate agent. Boom, hit enter, spit out this whole thing. So I said, can you condense that down to a text? And ChatGPT texted down to a text, and Charlie grabbed that text and sent it out. And 2 minutes later, one of his contacts that he emailed said, oh yeah, I'm looking for a condo. Kept doing it. A couple of minutes later, he just said, he goes, oh, one of my friends looking for a condo. What do I do next? I said, get him pre-approved, send him Mally's information. Next, we're continuing to talk. He goes, oh, I just sent another one out. One of my friends said, looking for an apartment. In 5 minutes, got 2 leads just from the people that he knows in his phone. Those are the people that are going to trust you. They're going to sign anything you put in front of them. Oh, Mary, we're going out on Tuesday. I need to sign some stuff. It's required for the office. Okay, send it over. They're going to fill out. They're not going to sit there and go, wait a minute, I don't want to. If you have a friend that says, I'm not signing exclusive right to represent, A, not that great a friend. B, why would you want to work with him anyway? If he's not going to sign it, he's not that great a friend. And obviously they've got something else up their sleeve. Anyone that's not willing to sign, and I've said this, I've been teaching this thing for 18 years. I've said this from day one to all my students in every class when we're talking about agency and fair housing, and they go, what if they don't want to sign it? Can I take them out anyway? And I've said, in my experience as an agent, when somebody says, I'm not signing anything, I'm an old big tough guy and a tough lady, and I don't sign anything, you find me the right house and I'll sign whatever you want. Every time somebody said that to me and Jackass Joe took them out anyway, they didn't end up buying it with me. They cheated on me and went somewhere else. They already had somebody else. They were working with their mom, their brother. They already had another agent that said, go ask some idiot broker that's not going to make you sign anything. Make him show you 40, 50 houses, drive around, use his gas. When you're all done, I'll put the offer in for you. That's what I've gotten every single time I worked with somebody that refused to sign the paperwork. So what have I always recommended? Vicky's been with me for almost 8 years now, and some people here longer. And I've said the same thing over and over. If they refuse to sign it, there's something else going on. Like, why don't you trust me? Why would you not trust me? I'm going to drive around, use my gas, give you all my expertise. I'm going to negotiate for you. I'm going to put this whole thing together for you, walk you through from the minute we start until the minute we end. Why don't you trust me? And if you're not going to fill out the paperwork, we're done. Again, we're going to go, Fred and I, in the next couple of days, we're going through the entire frequently used document folder. We're going to clean it out, thin it out, and put in all the new stuff and get rid of some of the stuff that doesn't apply anymore. We're going to go through everything. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. And when we do, here's what's going to happen. I am going to record a training video. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to be all nice and dressed. I'll probably be standing up in front of a podium or something, and I'm going to record a training on the documents one by one, each one that we're going to do, how we're going to fill them out, when to use them, and okay, any questions so far? A lot of interesting stuff. This is going to be a good video when I put this out there because it's important. Anyway, we'll have the rest of the doc rolled out. Ed, mute yourself. Okay, great. Thank you. So we've got, I've got 3 or 4 versions we're going through of buyer broker representation. A closing invoice. We're going to have a separate closing invoice, one for the seller. And in the past, I sent the seller a closing invoice. And if it's my listing, let's say it's a 6% listing, I sent the invoice to the seller and said, here's my invoice for the whole 6%. Pay 2% to XYZ Realty, 4% to Broad and Company Realty. And that was the invoice. Now it's going to be 2 separate invoices. Now it's going to be to the closing. I'm going to be sending the listing, the seller and his attorney. I'm going to be sending, here's my invoice, seller, for my 3% marketing fee and listing fee. And then buyer's attorney, here's my invoice to your buyer for 2% for taking the buyer out. That's how we're going to be doing it. So it's going to be separate. So if there's a buyer, that buyer agent is going to have to submit their invoice to the seller, not me. It doesn't come from me. It's going to go straight to them. I don't get a copy of it because it's not my deal. I'm only collecting my fee. If we're dual agency, then I'll be collecting the marketing listing fee and a buyer agent fee for the buyer in the office. Then we would submit everything to the seller. But otherwise, does everybody understand what I'm talking about? Is there any questions on that? It's just a little complicated, but it's really not.
Joe, I have a question real quick.
Yes.
Could the seller can like say that they're not gonna pay the commission for the buyer, the agent, the seller's agent?
Yes. Can you mean is the seller or the seller's agent? Which one are you talking about?
The seller. Can they say they're not gonna pay the commission for the
Seller can
seller's
say,
agent?
I'm not going to pay any fee. I don't care. I'll pay you your 2, 3, 4%, but I'm not giving 1 penny out to a buyer's agent. I'm not doing it. We can sit there and try and convince them that they're making a terrible, terrible mistake. But the bottom line is, if I think I can sell it myself, then I'll take the listing. But literally seller, no one even in my office is going to show this property.
So even say like
go ahead.
So even if I like I'm with a buyer and I negotiated, we have my commission and then I negotiated the seller's commission and then they brought their client and their client say, no, I'm not doing this because it's going to be on my mortgage. Is that still like a thing or no?
Yeah, that's the somebody that says, and a buyer says, I don't want to finance your commission for 30 years. Okay, you've got another option then is you can write me a check and just pay me at closing. You can do that. So it's added to your closing costs and pay me out of that closing costs, or go find yourself another agent.
Okay.
So learn to be a listing machine. Tomorrow's topic, I'm going to see what Daryl Davis is doing, but tomorrow's topic is going to be working with sellers. We're going to learn how to have communication. You're going to have to get a way to get seller leads. That's up to you. But once you have a seller lead and say, oh, I got an appointment tomorrow, what am I going to do? I want to give you all the information so you can go there confident, put together a listing proposal and all the documentation that you need and how to approach them. How do you go in the house? A little bit of showmanship, as I talked about, so that when you're in there, you can take over and people look at you as a very confident person. Does it work on the first try? Some people, it's going to be like, a fish in water. And to some people, it's going to be a fish out of water. Repetition is the mother of skill. Just don't learn to do it wrong, because then you didn't learn anything. All right. Any other questions? It's 12:47 already.
Yes.
I didn't even cover the
You
topic.
have to leave because I'm gonna meet with Laura before we leave.
Let's go Ricardo, then Jenny. Go ahead.
Okay, Joe, so when are you gonna do that video of the training? Like when is that?
Within I mean, I still don't have the final docs. So
Oh.
I can use these as samples because no one's going to see it online what it actually says. So I can talk about it on a video. It'll be, let's say, by midweek next week that I'll get it done. The documents, that's my number one thing is I got to get them done because we need those right away. Because if you're going to take a listing right now, this week, I don't really want you using the old listing agreement. I want a new listing agreement. And if you're going to take a buyer out, I made one for Ricardo. We still have to slightly polish that one up, but it's pretty good to go. So Ricardo said he was taking somebody out over the weekend. So I said, quick, I need one that's pretty good, or at least, 95% accurate. The only difference on that one that's missing, Ricardo, is the termination agreement. That if they just know, they need to know that that if they decide that they don't want to work with me, they could just put it in writing and terminate the agreement. Not a problem. That's the only thing missing from the one you have. So to me, everybody, the most important thing for me to do is finish getting these documents done. And there's quite a few. And again, Fred and I are going to go through the frequently used docs. We're going to ask you at some point, empty out your folders from the frequently used docs, buyer, seller, landlord, tenant, and we're going to give you all fresh new documents. We're going to go through all the folder, and I'll just tell you to go back to frequently used docs and just download everything fresh. But we're not ready for that. It takes a lot of time, believe it or not. Okay. Any other questions? That guy's a go-getter. He's doing really everything he's supposed to. He does the calls. He does the texts. He does the emails. He does the social media posts, and he's turning up with some reasonably good clients. When I say reasonably good is because if they didn't get an accepted offer, then they're not great yet until they sign a contract. Remember, nothing's final here until a contract is signed. I always say, never post, I got an accepted offer. Never do that. That is the kiss of death. Wait till contracts are signed. You can say, I'm doing an inspection today. Don't give an address. I'm doing an inspection today, and take some social media posts of you at the inspection, standing in front of a water tank and looking at a crack in a foundation. That's great stuff, but never post that you have an accepted offer.
I did
Post
that one time. That was,
under contract. What happened when you posted accepted offer, Jenny?
the clients decided they didn't want the house after the
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
it's the kiss of death, and it's not just you. It's everybody across the board. I've always said, never post that. Don't post accepted offer. Signed contracts, great. I'm doing a home inspection today, and want to video yourself, great, but don't ever post under contract. Don't put closing next Tuesday. That's another kiss of death. Don't do that. You can go to the closing and take video from the closing and then post it when you're done that you're closed. Here's a picture of my clients, another satisfied customer, whatever you want to do. That's great. Okay. I'm done talking. Anybody else?
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, either way, all they have to do is just send you an email or a text that says, I don't want to work with you anymore, and there's nothing we could do to hang on to them.